Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're diving into a right that's, not just fundamental, but also fiercely debated, freedom of speech. We're going to look at where it came from, why it matters so much, and tackle that incredibly tricky question of where, or even if, we should ever draw a line.
So let's just start with the big one, right? Can you really say anything you want? It sounds like a simple yes or no question, but the answer is, well, it's anything but. We all hear people say, I have free speech, but what does that actually mean in practice? Does it mean you can yell fire in a crowded theater or publish state secrets? This is the core tension we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to make sure we're all on the same page, let's start with the official definition. This comes from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and you've got to notice just how broad this is. It's not just about talking, it's the right to seek, receive, and share information and ideas through, and this is the key part, any medium. That could be a book, a blog, a song, a piece of art, you name it. It's a really expansive right.
So if the right is defined that broadly, it naturally leads to the first huge question. Is it absolute or are there limits?
Well, the answer, at least according to international law, is a pretty clear no. The right to freedom of expression comes with, and this is a direct quote, special duties and responsibilities. What that means is that it can be legally restricted, to protect the rights of other people or for things like national security or public health. To really get why these limits are even a thing, it helps to look back at how this whole idea developed in the first place. I mean, this is not a new debate. It's a conversation that has been going on for literally centuries. And the idea has had a fascinating journey. It kind of starts as this democratic principle way back in ancient Athens. Then it morphs into a specific legal protection, but just for politicians, in England's Bill of Rights. Then, boom, it becomes this revolutionary cornerstone in France and America. And finally, in 1948, it gets recognized as a fundamental right for every single human being on the planet. And people were passionately arguing for this right way back. As early as 1644, the poet John Milton made this incredibly powerful case against the government censoring printing presses. For him, the freedom to argue and debate wasn't just another liberty. It was the ultimate liberty, the one that guarantees all the others. And that brings us to probably the most famous expression of this whole principle. Now, fun fact, Voltaire never actually said these exact words, but they perfectly capture his philosophy. A real commitment to free speech means you defend it for everyone, especially for the views you can't stand. Okay, so if the right isn't absolute, but we're supposed to tolerate views we hate, how on earth do we decide where to draw the line? This is where it gets really interesting, where philosophy and law collide. There are basically two big philosophical ideas that guide this whole debate. On one side, you've got John Stuart Mill's harm principle. The bar here is super high. You can only limit someone's speech to prevent direct harm to other people. That's it. But on the other side, you have the offense principle, which is a bit fuzzier. It suggests speech can be limited if it's just deeply offensive to society, even if it doesn't cause, direct physical harm. And yeah, most legal battles today are happening somewhere in the gray area between these two ideas. So, what does this look like in the real world? Well, these are the kinds of speech that laws pretty much everywhere put limits on. Things like defamation, lying under oath, directly inciting violence, and stealing someone's copyrighted work. These are almost never considered protected speech. These are the sort of concrete lines that most societies have managed to agree on. But for the last 30 years or so, this entire centuries-old debate has been completely transformed by one thing, and you already know what it is, the internet. Yeah, this quote just absolutely nails the paradox of our time, doesn't it? The internet has given a voice to billions of people, but at the same time, it has created these incredibly powerful new tools for controlling that voice. It's a total double-edged sword. And this really gets to the heart of how the whole fight has changed. In the old days, the goal of censorship was to hide or destroy information. But today, when information is basically infinite, the new battle is for our attention. Because let's be honest, if no one is listening to you, your free speech might as well not even exist. The shift here is just dramatic. The old threat was simple censorship. A government doesn't like a website, they block it. A dictator doesn't like a book, they burn it. The new threat is what some people call flooding. Instead of taking speech away, you just drown it out with an overwhelming fire hose of noise, fake news, and propaganda. You make it almost impossible for anyone to figure out what's true. And this control is happening at so many different levels now. You've got the social media platforms themselves moderating content based on their own rules.
Then you have entire countries building these massive digital firewalls to block things. And on top of that, you have these coordinated disinformation campaigns that are designed specifically to confuse people and sow division. It's a way more complicated world than ever before.
So, after all of that, where does it leave us? Well, it really reinforces one key idea. Freedom of speech isn't some problem you can just solve. It's a constant, ongoing negotiation. This is a dynamic process. It's always in motion. As our technology changes, as our societies change, we're constantly being forced to redraw that line between an individual's right to express themselves and society's need for protection. There's just no easy, final answer. And that leaves us with the ultimate question for our time, really. In this world of information overload, with these incredibly powerful digital gatekeepers, who do we actually trust to draw the line? Is it governments? The big tech companies? Or at the end of the day, is it up to each of us? The answer is going to shape everything about our future. Thanks for joining me.